Hey there, this is Anthony. I'm reporting the quote link statement, chapters 2 and 4. So the first one I picked was become aware of your communication with yourself and others. I believe is in the intro area. Um, it's what I think the author is pointing out. It's practically like a golden rule. Um, or the first principle. Um, however you want to describe it, a commandment. A rule to go by, but he's explaining it for the use of communication and uh, leadership skills. When I reflect on that question, I noticed that the quote was italicized. uh, the small statement, it was concise. uh, you know it was a concise description and sentence that I felt created kind of an impact and importance, kind of like what I described in the first response, as like a golden rule. The second quote, uh, this is the 2-3 section of chapter 2. So, to be aware of more than just surface features of organizational culture, it's important to understand how organizational culture is developed and evolves. Um, so the author seems to try to like convey the perspective of seeing the bigger picture, as there are multiple factors within the organizational culture, that it's key to have the understanding of what's involved in like its creation. um, it might be a lot put into it, but there is a lot more elements within that the culture there. So in reflection, I felt it was important to me to choose a statement because it reminds me to be observant of the multiple different aspects of the cultural organization. All right, so the chapter 14 quote that I chose, let's see here, gotta scroll down. Okay. Concise writing avoids unnecessary words and phrases, but does not sacrifice clarity or necessary detail. And that was in the chapter section 14.1.3. I believe what the author meant. Uh, well, his statement was concise in itself. He described an approach that carried, a precise message to remember when communicating with others, or when like having to adapt your words to a new audience. Um, and then reflecting on that, I connected with the statement. Um, you know, you would, I would, I connected with it, because I would like to perfect, technical writing in this way, so it's not so filled with jargon, so I felt that this was you know, one out of the great dozen, handful of concepts, that somebody should reflect on. All right. The next quote, my last quote for chapter 14, was when information is complex and confusing, you want to make sure you receive immediate feedback from your team members so you can clarify and correct misunderstandings. Yeah, pretty much what I think the author is saying. When the information is complex and confusing, you want to, receive immediate feedback. I think the author's statement here was reinforcing the importance of the rich medium concepts. When they describe it in the chapter 14.2.1, it's the rich medium and like obtaining or seeking out the feedback so that you can develop a more understandable message. And in reflection in that, it's important to me because it's vital in writing, having that feedback. Like for example, like in the English 101 class that I had taken before, where you're writing a dozen reports and papers, it was definitely great. It was a great tool to receive instant feedback from the people in my group. So um, definitely, learning how to perfect the craft, I guess, for a, a great successful communicator. So yeah, appreciate it. We'll see you later.